Hello, everyone, and welcome to the RA Q&A session, our very first one of the 2024-2025 recruitment year. We're so excited to have you all. My name is Haley Bernard Handel, and I'm the coordinator for selection and leadership, and I have an amazing colleague with me today.
Hello, everyone. My name is Janelle Laura. I am the graduate coordinator for selection and leadership.
And today we're going to be answering some of your all's questions live. We have a very short presentation that we're going to go over just to answer some of our most frequent and common questions. And then we will open it up for you all to ask us questions. But please feel free to start putting questions, comments in the chat in your comments. You can put it directly into the Facebook comment or on your YouTube comments if you're watching via YouTube. And so we run the, we run the selection process, but we also have a special guest with us today too. Hey.
Hey, I'm Carrie. I'm an RA in Nike. I use she, her, and this will be my third year going into being an RA.
Woohoo! So we have Carrie who's going to be working in the background of the studio for us to help us out a little bit. But if you have any questions that you'd like specifically to be answered by an RA, we'll bring Carrie back out and have her answer them. So thank you, Carrie. Bye. All right, so without further ado, we'll get started on our presentation. So yeah, go ahead and take it away, Janelle.
All right, so like Haley mentioned, this presentation will briefly go over what the RA role is and what some of the RA responsibilities are, but just to let you all know, this is mainly a time to give you all the time to ask any questions that you might have for us as the selection committee members, and also ask Carrie, our RA that is with us today, any questions that you might have about the job. And if you would like to ask any questions, you can do so at the end of this presentation using the chat. And if you have any questions that come out throughout the presentation, you can go ahead and write them down and then add them to the chat later, or you can go ahead and add them now while you're waiting. So, all right, moving on. So you're probably asking yourself, what does an RA do? So an RA creates and maintains a community environment. They do administrative tasks. They serve on an on-call duty rotation, and they also implement the residential curriculum. So creating and maintaining a community environment, you're basically going to be sharing resources with your residents. You're going to be providing area council support, doing roommate mediations and agreements. You're going to be supporting initiatives and committees that you might be having in your community, as well as connecting your residents to the community and campus as a whole. In terms of the administrative tasks that you'll be doing some incident report writing, you'll be doing health and safety checks on our rooms, working on helping students get their work orders completed, doing occupancy checks, welcome ready checks, staff meetings, completing timesheets, sending out emails, and more. Serving on the on-duty call rotations. During the weekdays, you're basically going to be serving once a week, and it also fluctuates depending on the week and the community, but once a week you'll be doing an on-call that you'll have the phone from 4:45 p.m. until 8 p.m., and then at the desk from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. on call. And then on the weekends, you'll be scheduled within your community to work from 4:45 p.m. to 8 a.m. on call. In terms of implementing the residential curriculum, you'll be having conversations with residents, hosting community meetings, helping students build relationships in their time that they're here at UCF, and also campus partnerships here on the campus. So. Haley, you are muted.
Yeah. We still are not used to that. All right, so what does the time commitment look like here at UCF as an RA? You're going to be working approximately 15 to 20 hours a week, depending on the week. And we say that, and we're very specific about saying that, because there's going to be some weeks when all you're going to have is your 2-hour staff meeting and maybe a 30-minute one-on-one with your supervisor. And that's really all the, official RA tasks that you have to do that week. And that's really only 2.5 hours of work. But then there's going to be some weeks that you have move-in going on where you're going to be working, 2-3 days in a row, where you're working a whole half of a day from like 8 to noon or noon to 5, something along those lines, where you're going to be working quite a bit that week. So you do approximately work 15 to 20 hours a week, just depending on the week. Duty, we've talked about duty in our information video, so if you're interested in hearing more about that, we can either talk more about it if you have questions, or you can watch the information video. But we do have staff who are on call 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and we can't do that without our student staff helping us out and being on call with us. So definitely working duty as part of your job descriptions. Move in and move out, as I mentioned, weekly staff meetings, one-on-ones with supervisors. We do have spring, summer, and fall training, and then interactions with your residents, which should happen often. You should definitely be spending more time in your community than out of your community. Many people always ask, can you have a second job outside of being an RA? And you definitely can, with approval from your supervisor, with a maximum of 15 hours a week outside of the RA role.
All right, so how to apply. The RA application is open now until Sunday, October 1st at 11:59 p.m. You can find the application at ucf.ereslife.com, and please be sure to view the informational session that Haley had mentioned before, and you'll find that within the application. There's a link that'll take you right to the housing website and answer any of the related questions that are on the application. As this is an online application, you do need to submit 2 references, and please make sure that at least one of them is from UCF, but it cannot be a family member. And even though I know your mom, dad, aunt, whoever it is may be that might work here, will write you a phenomenal reference, please make sure that they are not a family member. And these reference forms are due the Monday, October 2nd, 2023 by 11:59 p.m. And also those references do not go out to those individuals until you submit your application. So if you wait until 11:59 p.m. on October 1st, they're not going to get it until that time, and they will have a 1-day turnaround to get that application reference form submitted for you. So please make sure to submit your application with enough time. And then in terms of what you will see as the application questions, you'll have a couple of personality questions, some 5 short answers, and then a job preference. And you can edit the application until you are finished and ready to submit from now until October 1st. But again, we do highly encourage you to turn it in before then.
All right, what will the interview look like? Interviews will be conducted in person on both the main campus and the Rosen campus. If offered, you'll be invited to interview on October 17th, and will have until October 22nd at 11:59 to pick your interview time and complete your interview sign-up. Interviews will be on main campus from Tuesday, October 31st, yes, this is Halloween, to Thursday, November 2nd, and interviews on the Rosen campus will be on Friday, November 3rd. Interviews will be scheduled for 60 minutes between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m., and individual interviews will consist of 2 professional staff members and the candidate, so it'll look very similar to this with me and Janelle talking to you. So it won't normally be me and Janelle, but this will look similar to how your interview will be set up. We encourage you to dress in either UCF spirit or business casual, but truly wear whatever you're most comfortable in. We don't score or grade on how professional or how dressed up or anything that you come to the interview. Just dress in what's going to make you feel most comfortable and excited for the interview. For selection timelines, we do hire a very few number of RAs to start in January of every year. Again, this is a very, very small number, but we do have a separate timeline for it. So for those few people who are going to be hired for January 2024, you'll receive your offer letters no later than November 17th. Your acceptance is due November 20th, and you'll have your HR process from November 20th to December 8th, and spring training will be the first week of January in 2024. For the vast majority of our candidates, you will be going for the summer 2024 RA position because we do hire our RAs from a May to May position. We do have the opportunity for you to apply to be exempt for summer if you'd prefer to start in the fall, but we do hire our RAs on a full year May to May contract. So for those with a summer start, which would mean summer or those exempt starting in the fall, you'll receive a candidate waiting area update on December 5th. That just basically means that you're in consideration. We relate it very much to a doctor's visit where you have made the appointment, you've shown up on time, all your paperwork is done, and now you're sitting in the waiting room. You've done everything right, you've shown up on time, you're just gonna sit and hold on. So that's what that candidate waiting area is, and we'll let you know if you're in that candidate waiting area by December 5th. Your summer offer letter would be sent by February 12th, and the HR process is from March 1st to October 10th of 2024, and we have summer training from May 8th to May 12th of 2024. And if this seems very confusing to you, we have this beautiful graphic on the next slide, has all the same dates, all the same information, just in more of a graphic way. If you want to like take a screenshot of it or anything to help you remember, I'll go through it again though. So if you are a spring hire, then you're hired on or by November 17th. Your accept decline offer is due. Sorry, that should say November 22nd, I believe. 20th, November 20th, sorry. And then complete your extensive HR process and background check by December 8th by 5 p.m. Those who are not hired will be notified on December 5th. And also those who are moved to the candidate waiting area for the summer process will also be notified on December 5th. For the summer hire process, those who are hired and those who are offered into our alternate pool will be notified on February 12th. If you are hired, you have until the 21st to accept or decline the offer. And then you have from May 1st to April 10th, 2024 to complete the HR process and background check. For those in the alternate pool will remain active from March 2024 all the way through November of 2024. So we do keep y'all around and fill vacancies as needed.
All right, so what's next? As you are here, you probably know that there are live Q&A sessions that are going to be streamed on the Housing Facebook page or held in person. So for the next 3 live options that you can go to, we have one on September 5th, which is from 4 to 5 p.m. in the Neptune Multipurpose Room. This will be held in person. It'll be in the Neptune community here on our main campus. We have the second one, which is September 18th from 6 to 7 p.m. And this will be featuring a couple more RAs, so not just Carrie, you'll see 2 or 3 of them there. And this will be live streamed on our Facebook and YouTube page. And we're also going to be having one on the 28th of September from 5 to 6 p.m. And this will be also featuring 2 to 3 RAs. And this will be in the Student Union Garden Key Meeting Room 221. So we hope to see you all there if you would like to come to another one or you have any other questions that come up. And again, if you would like to apply, you can go to ucf.ereslife.com. And I think that's it for our presentation. Now we're going to turn it over to you all to ask if you all have any questions for us. And you can ask our questions by writing in the comments of the Facebook and YouTube Live, or you can email us privately if you feel that you would like to do that as well at reslifeselection@ucf.edu. Haley, you are muted.
I am going to pull the presentation away and we're going to start answering questions. So if you are a freshman student and your GPA is 0, you are going to go ahead and put, if you are a first-time college student and you don't have any credits, no grade yet, you are going to put your GPA as 0. However, I want to pull on this other question here. Jasmine asks, if I already have dual enrollment AIC credit for the profile section where it says total credit hours completed, should I put 0 or the amount of credits I earned? Definitely put the amount of credits you've earned. It is cumulative, so you do want to put the credits you've earned outside of college before coming here, as long as they count as college credits. Oh, sorry. All right, Janelle, did you want this one or do you want me to go ahead and take this one too? Okay, so for Rosen, there are a total of 8 RAs, and how many per building? Of the 2, there are 4 per building. So we have 2 housing buildings, 904 and 905, and we have 4 RAs per building. Okay, Tyler, I'm an incoming freshman and I was looking at the RA application and it asked my GPA and how many credit hours I've completed. I was just wondering when I should do an application, as I don't know yet. Go ahead and put 0 for right now. That's totally fine. As you're completing your application, we end up pulling your GPA and completed credits before we offer our positions. The requirement for starting the RA position is 24 completed credit hours, 12 of which must come from UCF. But again, that's by the start of employment, not by when you submit your application. So if you have no credits right now, you can go ahead and submit your application. Putting 0 is totally fine. It won't make you not be considered for the position, and just make sure to have 24 by the time you would start in May if offered. Someone has a question for the RA that's present. Okay, let me bring Carrie back on. Hey, Carrie. So I'll ask you this question like as a moderator. What was the hardest part of becoming an RA, and what was the best part of becoming an RA? That's beautiful. That's such a good question.
I'd say the hardest part of becoming an RA is the waiting. I'm pretty impatient, and it's kind of quite a lengthy process. I also did my interview on Zoom, and I was put on the wait list. So having that even longer of a time being waiting to become an RA, I think was the hardest part for me. I think the best part of being an RA is just like the people that you get to work with. I get to meet a lot of residents, as well as all of the RAs that I work with on staff. I've worked with many different people, as well as like our grad and our coordinator as well. It really makes your experience being an RA is like the people that you work with.
I will say Carrie is absolutely one of our best, most standout RAs. She was nominated as best RA last year by her own staff. Yeah. And so she did mention that she was originally put on the wait list. And I think it's important always to mention that just because someone's put on the wait list doesn't mean that they weren't good enough or that they are not ready to be an RA or anything. Sometimes people just fit better or more specifically to certain staff, and we don't have the room to take all of the very best and greatest applicants that we have, because we need to make sure that we create a functional staff as a whole and not just each individual person. So Carrie was quickly scooped right off the wait list and has been a phenomenal RA since, and we're very lucky to have her. Thank you very much, Carrie. I will send you back to the studio, so I appreciate it. And if anyone else has any questions for the RA specifically, feel free to put them in, so we'll bring her back if needed. Bye, Carrie. All right, our next question. How competitive is the RA position? Janelle, do you want to give our numbers out?
Sure. I would say that the RA application process is fairly competitive. We do have close to 700 or 800 applications that are started when we first check them on October 1st after we finish the process. And it takes several months to go through every single application and get all of the information that we
not months.
Weeks. But I would say it is fairly competitive, but just build up your resume and do all the things that you need to make sure that you're a standout candidate.
Yeah, and we end up interviewing about 300-ish candidates, and we'll hire on the very first round about 80 of those candidates. So yes, it is a competitive process, but I do encourage everyone to apply, even if they're just considering it, and it is not a bad thing to apply twice. We love the RA position. It's a really great position, and that makes it a pretty competitive position. So that's not a bad thing though, and that doesn't mean you should be discouraged about applying. We definitely recommend still applying. A lot of those 800 applications end up not being fully completed, and so there's a lot of nuance to those numbers. Is it easy to keep up with being part of clubs as an RA? Well, let's bring our RA back and ask. I can tell you that Carrie is one of the most involved RAs we probably have on staff. So Carrie, why don't you tell us about some of the things that you've been involved in throughout your RA career, and then also how you've been able to balance those and what that's like for you.
Yeah, so I started as an RA in fall of 2021. I've been a part of multiple clubs. I was part of Nighthon, the dance marathon here at UCF. I've been a part of RHA in the past, and I'm part of NRHH as well, which are both housing organizations within UCF. So I also have an on-campus job at the Recreation and Wellness Center. So I've been able to do all of that and also be an RA efficiently. I think it's easy. It's easy and hard to manage, as long as you know yourself and you know your time. I like to block out my time, and that's how I know I have enough time for each of my commitments. So as long as you kind of plan ahead as far as what clubs you want to be a part of and how involved you want to be in those clubs as well, I think it can be easily managed.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carrie. Again, if you have any questions for an RA specifically, feel free to ask them and we'll bring Carrie right back out. Thank you, Carrie. All right, the next question, Janelle, is there a benefit to submitting your application sooner rather than later?
Sure. I think the biggest benefit to submitting it sooner rather than later is your references will have more time to submit their reference form for you. If they do not have that submitted by October 3rd, 11:59 p.m., your application will be discarded. We will not be considering you anymore for the application. So the sooner you get that application submitted, you review, the sooner it is that they can get that done. So I think that is the biggest benefit that I can think of off the top of my head. Haley, do you think of anything else?
That's definitely it. The references are due October 2nd at 11:59, so you want to give them as much time as possible. But in terms of how we score or how we look at it, as long as your reference is complete on time and your application is on time, there's no weight to application scoring on who turns their application in first. So you got to walk a fine line of making sure you really work hard on your application, really pay attention to it, but also give your reference plenty of time to complete their reference form. And it's not a letter. A lot of people get confused and then we get emailed letters randomly. It's not a letter, it's a form. We ask very specific questions to your references. You just need to make sure that you give them enough time to give thoughtful answers. All right, Summer Livingston, again at Rosen, do RAs get to choose the room before room selection opens to the rest of the students, or are there specific rooms that RAs live in? Chanel, you want to go ahead and take this one?
Sure, I can take this one. So RAs in all of our communities are placed in specific RA rooms. At Rosen, the majority of the rooms will be individual rooms, so they'll have a full living area, dining area, and also their like room attached to that. So it's kind of like a studio apartment, and then they'll have their full bathroom and living and closet space. There's only one room that they do need to share. Two RAs are sharing a space.
One RA, and they get to bring in a friend. They get to choose who their roommate is.
Yeah.
For Rosen.
Yeah. But yes, you'll know the room selection. You'll know which room that you're placed in before the year even starts. So early August, you'll get an email from us telling you which day you're moving in and where you're going to be moving into. And they'll be able to talk to their coordinator as well to know which room specifically they're getting put into.
Yeah, so in Rosen and for most of our RA positions all across campus, we have very specific RA rooms, most of which usually are some sort of a studio layout with a kitchenette. This is not the case for every single one, but for the vast majority for our RA positions do have those accommodations where it's your own room. All right, Tyler Rocks asks, I was wondering what about the living learning communities as it was in the other video. I assume you're referencing our information video, which is great that you've watched it. Thank you. So are the only positions for RAs in the LLCs, and what is the best way to get involved if you don't live in an LLC? Definitely not. I am just trying to remember the number, so like somewhere in the realm of 8 or 9 LLC RAs out of our entire 150 RA staff. So we have very, very few LLC specific RAs, and we usually prefer that those RAs have experience either with that LLC or with the topic of the LLC. So for example, we have nursing at Nike, and so that doesn't necessarily mean you absolutely must be a nursing major here at UCF, but have experience either in an adjacent major or know a lot about the nursing program to where you can assist those residents. So definitely not required, and that's not the only RE positions that we have. The best way to get involved if you don't live in an LLC, Carrie mentioned we have 2 student organizations as part of RHA or as part of Housing and Residence Life. One is RHA, which is the Residence Hall Association, and then the other one is the National Residence Hall Honorary, and I think Carrie will be able to put their socials up here on a banner in just a moment. These two are student organizations. There they are. So you can follow them on Instagram and look them up, or you can use Night Connect to search them. These are two student organizations that are part of the Department of Housing and Residence Life and have a lot of interaction with RAs and professional staff members. RHA right now has their applications open for their area council positions if you're interested in just jumping right in, which I highly suggest. So those are two ways to definitely get involved, and there's several other ways on campus to get involved and just get part of the UCF community as a whole. Janelle, anything you want to add on how to get involved if you don't live in an LLC?
I would say RHA and NRHH are the two biggest that I can think of off the top of my head. I was involved in both organizations, and I still am. I'm their advisor with Haley, and I think that they're a great opportunity, especially if you're looking to get leadership experience, and especially if your students are a little bit nervous and they're not sure of where to find their home. I think that RHA and NRHH are a great place to find yourself and to get leadership experience that you're looking for on our campus, and get involved in housing before you become an RA as well, if you would like to do that. Sorry, excuse me.
Awesome. Okay, we have another question. Christina, can an FTIC apply? Janelle, you want to answer that one?
Sure. So first time in college students, for those of you that do not know what FTIC is, that means first time in college student. And yes, FTICs can apply. You just need to have at least 12 credits done here at UCF by the time you're hired. So if you submit an application as an FTIC in October and you do not start classes with us until the fall, if you decide to be hired for the spring or the next semester for the summer, you do need to have at least 12 credits. So that's about 3 or 4 classes done here at UCF so that we can have a GPA for you. And we do GPA and grade conduct checks on the back end. So we'll be double checking that and making sure that you have classes at least 12 submitted here at UCF. But yes, FTIC students can apply. Do we receive a notification that our references have been completed after we submit our application? Yes, you do. It'll tell you a timestamp of when and what time it was submitted. So you should be getting an email from ucf.ereslife.com that'll tell you the time and date that it was submitted. And if we very rarely have an issue where somebody says that it was and then we're not able to find it. It's pretty clear on the program that we use that it shows you when the reference was submitted for you. So yes, you do.
You can also open up your application and you can go to the supporting docs. I was going to try and pull it up here. You can go to the supporting docs page on your application, and if there is, sorry, I'm trying to type and speak at the same time. If the reference has been submitted, then you will see this cute little green check mark. But if it has not, it'll be a yellow circle with a little clock in it. So I'm trying to pull it up. One moment. Let's try to make it so you can't actually see the information about the reference. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen real quick. All right, this is what it will look like. This is, like the information about the reference. It's very, very zoomed in, so you can't see the information about the reference itself. But this is the main thing that I am referring to right here. So the completed green check mark is right here where you can click to view the reference and you can see their information. Their information right under. And this is what a completed reference will look like, whereas this will be a yellow circle with a little gray clock, a little stopwatch. That's what it is. It's a stopwatch in it if the reference is not complete. So you can always return to your application to check. Oh, what type of qualities do you look for in a good RA? That is a great question. First of all, I think it's important to know, we kind of very minimally touched on it a little bit ago, but we aren't looking for one type of person to be an RA. One person there isn't a box that like, if you do these things, if you fit these qualities, you are an RA, and that is it. You're going to be perfect for it. Because if you all have been to UCF, or maybe you haven't yet, we are a beautifully diverse campus with tons of different types of people, lots of different interests, lots of different backgrounds. And our goal as those who lead the selection process is we want the RA staff that we hire to look and feel and match the UCF community as a whole as well. So in terms of like what makes a good RA, who is an RA, anyone can be an RA for any interest, any background, any major, so on and so forth. We want everyone to be an RA. But when it comes to needing to be able to perform the duties of an RA, there are definitely some qualities and characteristics that you need to have or have really high levels of in order to be successful in the RA role. And that would be time management, being able to think critically and process through situations that maybe are high intensity, or you have to make the correct choice under a little bit of pressure, and being able to kind of think critically through that. Being able to be administratively savvy. There's quite a few forms and things that you document throughout to your time as an RA. So you write incident reports, and you'd need to be able to write those correctly and with enough information and due diligence to help us out on the back end. And then also, you absolutely do not have to be an extrovert or have to be able to like be on level 10 at all times, but it is important and needed that you're able to talk to people, even if that means like once you've built a relationship. You should be able to carry on conversations with parents during move-in, with students on your floor, and be able to go up to those students on your floor and say like, hey, I'm your RA, here's when we're meeting, here's a program I'm doing, so on and so forth. So absolutely do not need to be an extrovert. You absolutely do not need to just be an extrovert and be able to be level 10 all the time. If you can go out and have those conversations, but then you want some private time too, that's totally okay. Anything else you want to add on, Janelle? And honestly, Carrie, I'll bring you in too right after that to add on any characteristics you think peer-to-peer is really good to see in an RA. No? Okay, we'll bring Carrie out.
Carrie out, yeah.
All right, Carrie, any qualities or skills that I missed that you think is good for an RA as someone who is an RA here, or maybe some RAs that you've worked with? What are we looking for?
I think you hit on the big ones. I also think being adaptable. There's change on every single level, and being able to adapt to those changes, especially when you are in a situation that does arise, like being able to pivot and like, quickly think and critically think of solutions. I think that is one of the biggest qualities that I think you can obviously build once you do get the role, but I think it's an important quality that you will build upon when you are in the role.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carrie. See ya. All right. I hope that answered your question. If you want more, I can try and think of some, but just let us know. All right. Janelle, is a reference the same thing as like a teacher recommendation letter?
Yes and no. A teacher recommendation letter is a letter, so they're writing out a whole thing on why they think you're great and why they think you should get something. While this reference, they're not writing particularly a whole lot of things. It's not just going to be a whole long letter. It's a form. So within this reference form, there's going to be like on a scale of 1 to 5, not exactly that, but they'll basically have to pick and choose on what they think their responses are. So it's not a letter. It's a form that they're filling out, but yes, kind of same concept as getting a recommendation letter from a teacher.
Definitely want someone who can speak to your strengths and that has maybe experienced working with you in a work environment, a volunteer environment, or any of those awesome, great things. All right, Jasmine asks, because of my major's requirements, I'm a transient student at Valencia West. Do you think this would affect the consideration of my application? I definitely do not think this would affect the consideration as long as you end up having 12 credit hours from UCF specifically. That is the only thing that would impact your application at all. You can definitely be a student from Valencia. We don't rate or score them any differently as long as you meet the basic requirements of 12 credit hours at UCF specifically, and then 24 credit hours as a whole. All right, Tyler asks, I saw that RAs are supposed to get their community involved. So what type of events are RAs supposed to hold, and do they come up with their own events for their community? Honestly, let's bring Carrie out if y'all have us again, Carrie. And I'm just going to throw it to you with the most experience in this. So to start off, what type of events are RAs? I'm never going to be able to do this right. What type of events are RAs supposed to hold?
Yeah, so typically we hold events for our floor specifically. Sometimes we'll collaborate with other RAs within our community, and sometimes doing it with the whole community. Some events that I've been able to host is our biggest event last semester. We held a paint pot like event, so we got like succulents, and it was like a whole community-wide event. So we had all the RAs out there. Everyone was like potting plants, painting their pots, and they got to take home the pots themselves. And it was like around Earth Day, so we gave like Earth Day facts and things to help like sustainability wise for the planet. So events that build connections with the residents, but also have that educational value as well. So we built in that since it was near Earth Day to like kind of give those facts and how to be sustainable as well within the community.
And how do you, and do you come up with your own events for your community, or are you given events?
So we have like a bank of events that you can pull from if you kind of don't have any ideas from the get-go. But usually when you, if you don't have any events that you like feel strongly passionate about, you can collaborate with another RA, and usually they'll be able to help you come up with events, and you guys can brainstorm together with events. But yes, typically you would come up with your own events, and we kind of have a session during training, kind of going over event planning and how to best effectively get residents involved when it comes to those events.
Sweet. All right, we do have our very own AVP who's put a couple comments into here, so I definitely want to highlight those real quickly. Carrie, thank you so much again for coming. So the one and only Chris Mack, Dr. McDonald, says that top qualities are gotta like people and want to make a difference, and that is absolutely true. And then as a follow-up, oh, sorry, we were both clicking on it. Follow-up, being an RA changed my life, and I think that almost any RA or any staff member, full-time staff member that you meet within our department who has either been an RA or experienced working with RAs will absolutely say that that is a pretty consistent feeling that people have. I love to say and remind people that there are very few jobs in the entire world where you can go to almost any employer and say, I was an RA, I was this, I was that, and they're going to know basic responsibilities like right off the get-go. You were able to talk to people, you handled emergency keys, you handled overnight emergency situations, you know, all these things that are pretty high caliber things, and all are qualities that you can relate to several different fields and focus areas, and they all fall under the RA position. So an RA position usually changes everyone's lives a little bit, and we love that. All right, so the next question, can I be an RA and a part of my area council, or is that an automatic thing when you're an RA? Carrie, be prepared because I'm going to bring you back up here in a minute. To the answer to the question, you cannot be an RA and a member of the area council at the exact same time. The area council is a student leadership position and involves a lot of advocacy, and it is assisted and supported by the community. So it is not an automatic thing, nor can you serve in both roles at the same time. However, come on back, Carrie. However, Carrie, tell us about your experience as an RA working with area council.
Yeah, so as an RA, you are able to serve on a committee. So one of the committees is helping with the area council. So the past 2 years that I've been an RA, I've been on the area council committee. So I've been able to kind of guide them and help them kind of see bigger picture of what, how to plan events, how to advocate for their residents and their community, in that sort of way, and just kind of assist wherever they need in that avenue. I've also been on area council and have been served on the RHA executive board, so kind of giving my insight for that to help them with their endeavors.
So while you're not serving on the area council as an RA, you can assist them and work with them, which kind of touches on our other point that we talked about earlier, how getting involved with RHA and NRHH is a great opportunity if you're interested in being an RA, as you will have one-on-one and kind of firsthand experience working with RAs who are supporting your area council or participating in other housing events that we have. So definitely recommend joining area council now during this application process to get some experience and joining other things on campus as well if you're interested, just to try and start prepping you and getting you some experience and getting you ready to potentially take on the RA role. And as a reminder, you're welcome to put any questions you'd like into the chat and we'll be able to answer them. Thank you very much, Carrie. I'll put you back in the studio. See ya. Alrighty, so again, feel free, the comments are so open for you to be able to ask any questions you want. We have just about 15 minutes left that we're going to be participating in this Q&A, so feel free to put anything in that you are interested or want to know about. All right, Tyler asks, I heard Carrie say she worked while being an RA. Are there any benefits to working on campus, and will every community allow you to work another job while being an RA? So are there benefits to working on campus? Yes and no. There, it kind of comes and goes. So the benefits that I would see are just knowing more about campus and more about resources. And I feel like as an RA, that is one of the number one responsibilities that you have as an RA is to connect your residents to resources and support and ideas and initiatives and fun events that are happening on campus. And so the more connected and involved you are on campus, the better. But on the flip side, with Carrie's experience, and I know because I know Carrie quite well, having to work with other campus or other departments on campus, working for them and for us, we are a very demanding job, especially during move in, move out, during big event weeks, and during interview weeks, all sorts of things throughout the year. We're very demanding with our RAs because we don't have a system where you clock in and clock out of an RA. It's more of a contracted role. So we need our RAs when we need them. And that requires your other job to be very flexible with the hours. So Carrie is amazing. She works at the RWC, which is the Rec and Wellness Center, and we're very lucky that the Rec and Wellness Center is so flexible with her in being able to move her hours around, move shifts around to be able to complete her RE work. We say that in terms of priority, you're a person first, you're a student second, and you're an RA third. Any job or anything after that needs to come after being an RA. Those are your three priorities, and then you can prioritize anything else after that. But you're a person, you're a student, and then you're an RA, and that needs to be the priority. So that kind of, there's benefits and drawbacks. So you've got to make that decision yourself. Will every community allow you to work another job while being an RA? Our requirement is that you get approval from your supervisor first. And this is just because we want to make sure that you continue to be successful as an RA. If you have two jobs and you're taking a full class load and we pull your GPA at the end of your second or third semester and your GPA is falling, you're missing RA deadlines, we're going to probably want to have a conversation about that second job. So that approval from your supervisor can come and go based on, how well you're doing as a person. And we're not going to use that as like a carrot to dangle over, oh, you better be really good in your RA job or else I'm going to say no more job. It's because we care about you as a person and want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself because we care about you. Will every community allow you to work another job while being an RA? Yes and no, as long as you're completing the tasks and you're doing okay as a staff member and as a student. All right, do our scheduled RA hours work around our classes? Janelle, you want to start off with this one? I feel like this is going to be a longer answer, so you can go and then I'll add in anything else.
That's fine. Yes and no. Wait, Haley, I actually think that you should.
Okay. I'll start and you add in if you think of anything.
It's a little, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So scheduled RA hours, there aren't really scheduled RA hours. What there is that is scheduled is a staff meeting and your duty shifts and then your one-on-ones. But that's like kind of a different thing. So your staff meeting usually is about 2 hours per week, and every single RA on your staff and every pro staff member from your immediate community will all be in this staff meeting for 2 hours every single week. Absolutely, they will create the schedule around the RA class schedules. It usually is sometime in the later evening on a weekday. I know like some people start at 9, some people start at 8, 7, 10 if it's a really rough year, but they will schedule around your classes for that staff meeting for sure. Same with your one-on-one with your supervisor. Those one-on-ones are usually about 30 minutes and they take place during the day between 8 and 5, but they are scheduled around with you and your supervisor. In terms of your duty selection, different communities do it differently. Some communities have that you are on duty every Tuesday of the semester. So you're in the office at 4:45 until 8 p.m. every Tuesday, and you take the phone with you at 8 p.m. You go back to your room, you go to sleep, and you have the phone with you, volume all the way turned up, in case you have a call that comes at any point until 8 a.m. in the morning. You do get to choose your duty night at the beginning of the semester, and you keep that for the full semester. Some communities then on the flip side will say, okay, everyone needs to take 11 duty nights for the whole semester, and you just pick a night. And these are weekday duty nights, because then you also have weekend duty nights, which are going to be 4 full 24-hour shifts. So 4:45 on like Friday to 4:45 on Saturday. And you do pick those just sporadically. You don't do those every single week. So you say at the beginning of the semester, everyone's going to have 6 weekend duty shifts for the whole semester. And you guys take turns picking which duty shift you're going to have at the beginning of the semester, and you schedule it. So again, that is still working around your classes and things that you're involved in. Anything you want to add on that? No? Cool. Carrie knows I ran her duty selection once. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time. All right, Corey asks, are RAs often expected to choose a community, or is there another placement system?
I can
Yeah, I was gonna throw it to you, you know.
So you can submit your preference when you submit your application and throughout the application process. So let's say you would like to be an RA like Carrie and Nike, you can put that on your preference. But we do have our own kind of, I guess, placement system is the way that you put it, where the community coordinators are going to go through and choose their RAs that they want. They will take your preference into consideration, but if the community really wants you and that's the community that you get placed at, that is where you're going to have to be. If you can go about not accepting the RA application if you would like to. However, that is usually how it goes.
Yeah, and so on your application, you'll see that we've grouped them into regions. So you have Academic Village, which is going to be Nike, Neptune, and Hercules. You have the Middle Campus, Lyra, Apollo, and Lake Claire. You have the Four Towers, Northview, and then Rosen. So if you pick anywhere on main campus, we're gonna consider you for anywhere on main campus. We will take your preference into consideration, like Janelle mentioned, but we'll consider you anywhere. The only time we won't consider is if you pick Rosen and only Rosen, we're not going to call you for a main campus position. We're going to assume that that means you want to be living and working at the Rosen campus, and we're going to let you do that if you're selected. But Janelle also mentioned something very important. The offer that you're sent for the community that you're selected for is your RA offer. So if you choose to decline that position, that is you declining the whole RA position. You don't get to just decline a community and wait to be picked up by another one. So you don't get to just pick and choose and wait it out till the community you want picks you. The offer you're sent is the offer we have for you if you're selected. All right, Jasmine asked for clarification on my previous question. Is the RA requirement that I have 12 UCF credit hours by my date of hire, or is it by the day I start work? Okay, it would be the day you start work. I see. So not the day that we send you the offer, but when you start the position. So if you are doing, as you mentioned, like Valencia classes for the fall, but you're going to be taking UCF, 12 UCF credit hours in the spring, and you're wanting to start in May of 2024, that's totally fine. All right, our next question, and I just want to let everyone know we have about 10 minutes left, so if you have any last minute burning questions, go ahead and make sure they get into the chat before we conclude. So the last question, thank you for answering, you're so welcome. So could I apply for my area council for the fall semester, and then if potentially accepted for the RE position, start in the spring? Janelle, you want to answer that?
Yeah, so we've actually had several area council members that this happens to. The area council will have that vacancy for the spring, and they'll just go through the process of filling that vacancy. But you are more than welcome to apply to be in the area council within your community for the fall. And then if you get the RA application for the spring, then you're good to go and you can go ahead and do that.
Again, there are very few that are hired in that January position. We always want to bring that up because so many people can sometimes get discouraged if they're not immediately picked up for a January position. But when I say so few, I mean we have like 6, 7, 8 total people who start in January a year out of the, say, 300 people that we interview. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're the absolute 100% very best candidate either. They're the right candidate to fit the vacancy that we have. All right, again, we have 7 more minutes, 8 more minutes now. So if you have any questions, oh, we have one, great. We have 8 more minutes. Go ahead and put anything else that you have in the chat. Are RAs paid, or is the pay basically the room that you live in? Both. So you get the room for free, not for free. It is taken out of your stipend, and then what is left in your stipend gets divided out to be a biweekly paycheck. So you get paid in a check every 2 weeks as an RA, and you do not pay for your housing. Gary, you want me to bring him on? This curious ESA, zucchini. A common question, misconception, RAs cannot have pets, but just like our regular housing policy, you can have an ESA. And this is Carrie's very cute zucchini, and they're so great. Hey, zucchini. Oh, they're also featured on my water bottle here. There you go. Had to show off. Yeah, zucchini is great. We love zucchini. Okay, bye, Carrie. All right. Again, 7 more minutes. We're here for any questions you might have. You guys have been so great so far with so many questions. And we're definitely here if you have any more. But in the meantime, if we don't have any, Carrie, go ahead and put any questions that you think are helpful from our previously and frequently asked questions page. If you see any that really stick out to you, that make you really excited. Yes, we love zucchini. Big snaps. Zucchini is a little team mascot over here. And Carrie's so awesome and great and crafty that she makes, these little door decks and stickers and everything. So we're all zucchini fans, whether we want to or not, but we all want to be. All right, what skills or experience should an applicant expect to learn through being an RA? I think that's a great question. And Carrie, I don't think you meant this, but I'm going to bring you back to help answer this question too. So some things that you should definitely expect. Do you want to go first, Janelle? I feel like I've started out most. Okay. Some of the skills and experience you should expect to learn as an RA is definitely time management, fiscal responsibility. Those programs that Carrie was talking about, you do not pay for them on your own. We pay for them, but we also give you a budget. So if you're wanting X amount of programs per year, you've got to take the budget that you have and decide, I'm going to spend, this amount on this program, $40 on this program, $10 on this program, so on and so forth, to make your programs really fun. And then definitely critical thinking skills. We really empower and encourage our RAs to think for themselves, create their own choices. We'll guide them, but at the end of the day, we really like for them to start learning and growing and deciding things on their own. Sorry, Paige, I was just reading your comment. I'm gonna bring it up if that's okay. Paige says, my name is Paige, by the way. I forgot before joining that my name is on here as Paper, LOL. RAs are RAs, I'm never going to say that. Are RAs responsible for buying the materials for community activities? Like I was saying, no, they are not. They are given a budget at the beginning of each semester and each year that's divided out from the community budget. So as Carrie mentioned, sometimes RAs like to collaborate on events. They'll often do that so that they can pool their money together to buy bigger, better things, have a bigger event, but we never, ever, ever expect you to use any of your own money into the RA position. Now, Carrie could probably tell you that she likes to really go above and beyond and go far and away with like some of her door decks and things. And she has her own Cricut, and she likes to just do the most. And like, we're not going to stop you from doing that. And we just, are going to give you the budget that we've got divided out by RAs, and you can go from there. But it's never an expectation to spend your own money on your RA duties. And it's up to you to go above and beyond. And we've got from Chris Mack. Thanks for hosting the Q&A session. I hope all these Knights consider this wonderful opportunity. Go Knights, charge on. Definitely hope you all are considering this. I hope this is definitely useful information. Since we're kind of slowing down and closing, I'm going to go ahead and put our PowerPoint back up just so we can reiterate to you all those final Q&As that we have coming up. So September 5th from 4 to 5 will be in the Neptune Multipurpose room in person. This space is in the Academic Village, so you'll just find the Neptune community. If you get lost, go to the Neptune community office. It's right across the way and they can help direct you. But it is in the Academic Village area past the RWC. On September 18th, we'll be right back here live on both Facebook and YouTube, live streaming, but we will have a whole team of RAs to be able to answer your questions directly, so you can ask all the questions directly to RAs and get their real firsthand experience and have them be able to answer exactly what you want to know versus me and Janelle giving you the answers. And then our final one will be on September 28th from 5 to 6. This will be in person again, featuring RAs and me and Janelle, and it'll be on the second floor of the Student Union in the Garden Key meeting room. So we hope that you all consider attending. I'm going to bring Carrie back on to thank her so much for helping us out, and thank you all so much for participating. We hope you have a beautiful and great rest of your day, and join us the next time. Again, if you have any questions that you don't want to wait for a Q&A, please feel free to email us at reslifeselection@ucf.edu. Thank you all. Have a good day.